these are the Little Orphan Annie comic strips, originally published in July 27th, 1925. They are now in the public domain. In the weeks before this, Annie and Daddy Warbucks were having several fun, light-hearted adventures, but now the fun is coming to an end when he receives a telegram from his wife. A servant comes in with the telegram saying, "Telegram, sir." Daddy Warbucks calls to Annie, saying, "Hey, Annie, come here and listen to this." When Annie arrives, he reads the telegram out loud. "Will arrive home Tuesday, August 4th, and bringing wonderful surprise, Mrs. Warbucks." Daddy and Annie are not happy to get this news. He's upset because now he'll have to wear a suit every day. "Well, I've been afraid of that for a long time. Now I'll have to be uncomfortable and wear a collar like a dog, dress up all the time, stand around. Goodbye, comfort." Annie says, "Gee, and she's bringing a surprise. I wonder what it can be." The next day, Annie takes a walk with her dog, Sandy. She says, "Aw, things were going too swell for me, Sandy. I might have known it couldn't last. Something was bound to come along and spoil everything. You don't know Mrs. Warbucks. Course I wouldn't say anything. She's Daddy's wife, and I wouldn't hurt his feelings for the world. But between you and me, she's my idea of walking trouble. She's not just stuck up, see? And I'm not sore just 'cause she didn't like me and fired me back to the home. But she's just naturally mean, that's what she is. And she's bringing home a surprise. Leaping lizards. When she finds us here, I guess that will make her surprise about as exciting as a wet firecracker." Annie is referring to a storyline from the previous October where Mrs. Warbucks went behind Daddy Warbucks' back and had Annie sent to the orphanage. The next day, Annie is still kind of worried as she asks Daddy, "Say, Daddy, aren't you afraid Mrs. Warbucks will be awful mad when she finds me here?" He responds, "Don't you worry, Annie. Mrs. Warbucks was all upset that other time. She wasn't herself, Annie. She went to Europe for a rest, you know. Her nerves are all right now, and everything will be jake. Just mark my words." A maid comes in and says, "Bedtime, Miss Annie." Annie gives Daddy a hug, saying, "All right, Suzette. Good night, Daddy." "Good night, Annie. Sleep tight." Once she's gone, he reveals he is a little nervous about the idea of Annie meeting his wife. He's pacing back and forth in the room, saying, "I can stand for a lot, but if that wife of mine starts picking on that kid, there'll be something doing. By Jupiter, anyone who wouldn't love Annie. She's my girl, and I'll see she gets a square deal." The next day, Annie spies on some servants. Again, they talk about the storyline from the previous year where Annie first met Mrs. Warbucks. The one servant says, "It's a shame, that's what I calls it. I feel sorry for the master." "Oh, he's big and strong. He'll take care of himself. It's the kid I'm sorry for. That old frozen-faced Mrs. Warbucks took the kid out of the home about a year ago just to show her near society pals what a hot charity worker she was. Charity? Blah! Four-flusher, that's what I calls her." "Right-o. I recall it perfectly. It was hard on the poor little blighter. The whole dame gave her the bally-raz, except before company." "Yeah, till the old boy dropped in one day. I guess he told the old girl a few mouthfuls." "The master has a heart of gold. I don't care if he is only a commoner." "Commoner nothing. He's a prince, see? But what a wife! If she was mine, I'd bend a wrench over her nut. I knew she'd show up to spoil things for the kid. Her kind always come back." Annie does not like this conversation, so she walks away as quickly as possible, telling her dog, "Sandy, come away from there. It's wrong to eavesdrop." The next day, Annie is talking to Sandy. She says, "Maybe if I'd been a better girl, Mrs. Warbucks wouldn't have sent me back to the home that other time. But it was the first time I'd ever been out of the home, and I didn't know how to act. Gee, I want to be friends with everybody, I do." So she goes to Daddy and says, "Say, Daddy, I'm going to pick a swell bouquet, and when Mrs. Warbucks comes in the door, I'm going to run up and holler, 'Surprise!' and give it to her, and give her a nice kiss, too. Do you think she'll like that?" Daddy is happy. He picks Annie up playfully and says, "You bet your gold-plated tin type she will." When Annie's gone, he says, "That little angel, talk about forgive and forget, and after the way my wife abused her, too. Well, maybe things will be different this time. How can anybody help but love that little tyke?" But the next day, Daddy is looking pretty upset. He says, "I shouldn't admit it, Annie, but I sort of dread to see the missus come home. It's not like it used to be. I can remember when we were first hooked. We had a little 3-room flat. I was foreman in the rollin' mill. We both worked and we thought we were poor, but we had happiness. We used to plan for our family, kids, a house of our own someday. Then I began to make dough. Money, money, money. I wanted to make her happy, see? Wanted her to be contented, have comforts. But it was all a mistake, I guess. We're not happy anymore. Now instead of kids and a little home, it's society and trips to Europe. Instead of happiness, we've just got a wad of dough." Annie hugs Daddy and says, "Don't you worry, Daddy. Everything will be Jake someday." And that's the end of this week of strips. I'm sad to say things will not be Jake the next week as Mrs. Warbucks shows up. She is as unpleasant as you might expect, and her surprise is not very pleasant either.